Because the boys are back in town. Hey, it's Watercraft Network Wednesday. Um, we are the Watercraft Show. For all you out there in Watercraft land, that's
Watercraft
us.
land.
That's us.
I'm Kevin. That's Jody. We got Bishop, super producer, behind the scenes. Got the intern over there.
Behind the other scene.
Behind the other scene. And we have Tommy Bonacci tonight.
We got a good show lined up. We want to thank all of the new viewers out there. The Roku viewers, and we try to make an attempt moving forward to make the show more understandable for those of you who may not be familiar with the personal watercraft lifestyle, the hobby, the industry, the community. So, in doing so, maybe we should have Tommy help us out with our question of the week. Which we'll get from people who are not as familiar or acclimated with the sport.
Tommy, have fun with that one.
I think he'd be a good guy to help out. He's been around skis for as long as we have. I mean,
All
so
day.
Well, nobody creates bombers around skis.
well,
Just
that's
saying.
it's a good point. I mean,
I'm sure he's lost a few pairs. Very expensive.
I wonder if that's what led to bombers being. We had asked him last time we talked to him, and he said it was construction related that led him into developing the product. But I wonder if he ever lost an expensive pair of Ray-Bans or Oakleys.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm
And he
sure,
was
I'm
like,
sure.
God damn it, I'm building floaters. But yeah, well, if you want to bring Tommy in live, we'll have him join us for the kind of question of the week.
Tommy, how are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we can hear you,
absolutely.
man. What's happening?
No, I was 2 minutes late. I was racing home to trying to get all the green lights and make it here on time. I
You're
hit a
good.
couple red lights, so I was a little late. Sorry about that.
Man, dude, don't worry. We appreciate you taking time out of your evening to spend a couple of minutes, with us talking personal watercraft and obviously bomber products. And just so you know, I don't just wear them when you're appearing on the show. I wear these bombers every single week because we have these like lights that will literally burn your retina, Tommy, that for lighting. And I'm always rocking the bombers every week, and we tell people before we close out, the only product, if you're a personal watercraft operator, and this is really a good segue because we have a lot of new folks to the industry and the community. A lot of people finding us on Roku, and we're really trying to make the show, somewhat friendly to people who aren't all that familiar with the community, the industry, and personal watercraft stuff that dinosaurs like us take for advantage. And one of
Oh,
those
easy
things,
there, birthday boy.
one of those things, are bomber floating eyewear. I honestly, we in our area, and this, the law enforcement guys that we're friendly with approached us and they're like, "Hey, can you get us some of those floating shades?" It's unbelievable. It's such a great product, and we always say, look, if you're a personal watercraft operator, one of the first things you're going to lose are those big dollar Oakleys or Ray Bans, and bombers are so reasonably priced, and they're such a great product. And the best part is they float.
Yeah, and every time you find them in the water after you fall off and lose them, they double their value. So if you get off, since equal value of some of the higher end eyewear line, brands.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, they're really a quality built product. You know,
Oh, we've going on years on the same pair of shades.
yeah, I can't tell you. I mean, I leave a pair in one of our 3-seater sit downs just so I'm never without them on the water.
See, I don't even care if I scratch them, ruin them, break them, because they're reasonably priced. I'm gonna order another pair.
It's a good point, Mel. It's a
Just
really
saying.
good point. You can't beat the bomber price point. In comparison to, like Tommy said, some of the higher end uh, glasses out
Hey,
there.
remember the intern had his big get off there over the summer?
I
Hey,
remember
intern,
that.
listen, we have a guy who's like really, probably a very humble guy, but Tommy is really, an icon within the industry, and I guarantee you, he will
Number
tell
one
you.
in Germany for far.
Gary, he's just like the pop it.
Tommy will agree with this. I'm telling this to our young 18-year-old intern, Tommy. There's no
Yeah,
shame in there's no shame in water sampling. If you don't periodically hit the eject button, you're not riding. You're not riding hard enough. Am I right, Tommy?
absolutely, absolutely. No, absolutely. That's how you always do. You just try to push it. You push and push the limits. That's just kind of what it's always been, and that was always a thing with me. Being a dinosaur like us. Within the industry, it's like a lot of it was so trial and error. As I mean, I grew up like with the 440s and the 550s and stuff. Now, basically when I started racing, it was all there was the 440 supers and the 550 mod class. And when I first started racing, I started in the novice class or whatever. I rode I had 550. I rode just a stock 550. I think I had like and an intake grade and a finger throttle because they come throttles back then, and
Right.
rode stock and rode limited in both clubs, whatever. But that's what it was. Just that's all it was. But then like as the sport kind of evolved, and as I went up in classes, you started modifying the jet skis. I mean, we would stuff onto these old 440s and 550s and ride them and try to figure out what they were doing, and that's what you do. You do a lot of water samples, trying stuff out and going, oh, whoa, go flying and go, yeah, that didn't work, you know, take that off. So that was always fun. I thought it was always you know, in my younger days, it was funner, like the intern being 18. When you're 18, you can get ragdolled and it doesn't hurt as much. When you're like us and you get ragdolled, and it's like,
It's
I
a
mean, you
different
can kind of
story.
walk away. Yeah, you walk away, you're like, for it later, So
Well, and that's just it. I mean, when you get up into your late 40s and early 50s, where we are, it takes that much longer to recover. I mean, back in the 550 days, and then the heyday of the mid 90s, Tommy, when the FX1s were out, and boats
hmm
were really starting to perform well, but still, a little loose and dicey. Man, some of the get offs, I mean, scrambles your egg a little bit, but
My shoulders are still they're junk from.
I get sore just
Well, I
thinking
saw you
about it.
guys shooting at you were shooting the Raider gas tank there, and every time I hear that word Wave Raider, my shoulder starts hurting, or neck pain. I mean, the old Wave Raider was that was a handful, and
Oh,
so I mean, there were so many times. I mean, it was going good. It was fast, and it rode pretty good. And I didn't know what I was doing. They took me from the stand up class. Hey, ride these things, and you know, and I'm like, all right, I didn't really want to race them at first, but they made it worth my while to go do it, and it was like, okay, hey, this thing's fast. Okay, how do the Sea-Doos ride? I didn't even know. I never even rode a Sea-Doo, and then you start to realize, like, wow, these Raiders are really they need a lot of work, and so
yeah, you're right.
you definitely go ahead.
No, those boats were quick back in their day, but I still think the Raider is one of the worst handling boats ever designed. I mean, outside from a Yamaha Wave Jammer, you know,
And a ZXI 1100.
yeah, I mean, but the Raiders, especially the 1100 Raiders, were incredibly fast in their day, but they just, especially with that triple and that additional horsepower in them, they were just sketchy as all. Just really never could get them to handle right.
Well, I mean, when a Wave Raider was going to throw you, you never had a hint that it was coming.
Right.
So that was the weird thing about the Wave Raider. The Wave Raider was like crazy. And then when we had to make it work or whatever, and it was the modified rule back then. And I was riding for ProTech, and when Dallas Baker and Matt
Yeah.
Warbus, and that was McCluggage's mechanic.
Yeah.
They kind of hired me on as, like, hey, we know you're kind of handy and stuff. You're a surfer. You're probably good with some fiberglass stuff. And I go, this thing supposedly doesn't handle that good, but we'll make it work or whatever. And so that's what was my job. It's like I got hired to do the R&D on that Wave Raider, and then race it. And so we first started racing it I raced it bone stock. That thing was horrible. And then, you know, we tried some other things. So what I did, I actually broke a surfboard. The waves were really big, and I broke a surfboard, and and I just go, you know what, this thing's horrible. I took a skill saw, a regular, for cutting, wood, being like a carpenter, and cut the front end off, the size of basically the whole front end, peeled the fiberglass off my existing half of my surfboard that was snapped, kind of like wedged it in there, and I wanted to shape it more like the Sea-Doo, more of a flat entry, and that's basically what we started doing. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just knew, like, with all that stuff, all that bow strakes on there. I
Yeah, the
mean, that thing would
chimes.
come in, the chimes. Yeah, it would. I mean, it was fast. It'd go straight good, but even going straight, you would crash. You hit that thing would come in, and it would grab those chimes, and it'd hunt and then throw you. So I just go, they got to make this thing soft. And so, anyways, actually a pretty fun project. But every time I see pictures of that Wave Raider, I start itching from fiberglass, because we were grinding, and it was a
And you're
lot of
right.
work.
You're right, Tommy. They're very darty boats. They like to chine walk a lot, and yeah,
Oh yeah,
you're exactly right. You catch one of those chines or skegs the
Just
wrong
the
way,
yeah,
and yeah, you're
you're
going,
done.
you're dancing with the water.
Well, why don't we?
yeah,
What's
yeah.
the question of the week that we can throw at Tommy?
Oh, well, ironically, question of the week, really, again, coming from folks who are just really, becoming acclimated and really new watercraft owners. We had touched on prior, either last week or the week before, we said, hey, listen, no matter what you buy, what you ride, take a safe boater course. That's our recommendation to all personal watercraft operators, and especially those who are new to the sport. Take a safe boater course. We can't say that enough. It's really, really important. Personal watercraft have unique handling characteristics, which brought up our kind of, I don't like to use the term newbie, but someone who's not as experienced, wrote us a question and said, hey, great advice, going to take a safe boater course, but how would you recommend that I get acclimated with my personal watercraft? And I thought we should ask the bomber. Maybe he's got some input on that one. So what do you think, Tommy? Not to put you on the spot.
I mean, getting acclimated to any ski, it's I, I mean, like at first, the first, you got to figure out the simple things, how it starts and all that stuff, and then kind of like I don't know, I like to like ride and kind of feel like where I mean, if it's a sit down ski, like uh, some of those sparks and stuff like that that Sea-Doo came out with, like it was like, whoa, these things are cool, like a narrow, I loved it. Like I got on that, I was go, whoa, this thing's gonna work a lot different. So it's like sometimes you got some skis you sit on, it's like riding a bull. It's like your legs are real spread out, and so you gotta like just kind of feel comfortable, going fast, and then letting off and seeing how it slows down is probably the safest thing you can figure out, and
Right.
then, and then like you start doing that stuff. So it's like, if I was like, okay, learn how to ride this thing, I go straight and, make a few little turns, but go straight and then figure out how I could stop it real quick, or like kind of like turn, and you kind of get to feel how that craft likes to like turn. Like the hull is always going to like settle into the water. Like when you're on the throttle, it's lifted, it's there's a lot of lift, it's going up there, and then when you let off, sometimes, like with race boats and stuff that we ride, that we have aggressive intakes, it just almost shoves the nose down,
Right.
a lot of stock stuff probably going to glide a little bit more. So you got to like figure out like, hey, I got to, figure out, I got to let off earlier if I'm not comfortable enough to turn to dodge with anything, I at least got to let off early enough. And so figuring out how it, going fast and then letting off, going fast, letting off, and then kind of having that feeling of range, I guess, is probably one of the safest things, because a lot of people, they kind of get that whiskey throttle and want to go fast, and then something comes up, which you always think you have a clear space out there, but something's going to come up and you got to do something. If you don't know that, then you'll get yourself in trouble real quick.
That's great advice. It's absolutely perfect, because it's so important that people who aren't all that familiar with watercraft get to know their machine and how it's going to handle, how it's going to respond in various types of situations. And what you explained is absolutely perfect, because you're exactly right. You want things are going to happen when you're on the water. There's going to be a vessel behind you that you didn't even know about as you go to turn 180 degrees. So it's really important, like you said, to do it in a safe manner, but you also want to go out there and learn how the hull's going to respond, because it's so different to it than a
Both.
car.
Yeah, yeah.
Because your terrain is constantly changing when you're talking about being on the water. So
And
that's
it's different, obviously, like boat to boat.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
Well, yeah, that was my perspective. If there was nobody on the lake, like you doing that now that the next chapter of safety would be like, now you're usually on the water riding this thing, and you're not alone, and so you got to like know these guys, and so you got to watch out for everybody, and so
right,
it's kind of like, okay, that guy's kind of going that way, then you're kind of like, he's not turning, so you can kind of like get behind them and not like be like, well, I'm going to do turns like this and kind of meet up and and cross paths. No, try to get like behind people, and just, I mean, it's really a lot of common sense, but you can get overlooked so quick because you're just like having fun going, oh, this is great, whatever, but like myself, I go out there and I'm jumping wakes, whatever, and I'm like trying not to piss off the guys that are driving the boats sometimes. So don't want to get too close. And then I see them starting to cheer or want more. Then okay, cool. I can get closer, and now I can play in the wake a little more or whatever. So you learn that etiquette of your neighbor boater out there on the water. And so it's like when people are like gassing it and getting away from you, they want nothing to do with the jet ski guy, And so it's
yeah,
like, so you kind of like fall back and angle. If they're going that way, okay, these guys aren't being cool. I'm gonna kind of veer off and go shred some turns over here or whatever, and just kind of find that space. It's almost like playing safety. You're trying to like find the soft spot out there, but keep an eye on everybody. And then when somebody's coming at you, then you don't want to turn at them. You turn away from them and then dart off the other way. And that, just knowing that, like keeping your eyes peeled, and then going back to my first, suggestion was like, if something comes up fast and you need to, and you know how the hull reacts, then you're kind of going,
Right.
oh wow, I might need to like make a hard turn. I'm gonna put a lot of weight to the outside gunnel and have to go like wide open and get out of here. Or
Right.
it's like,
Right.
oh, I gotta make something quick, and I might spin out and hit the guy with the back of the, and then it's like you're like leaning inside and hook it real hard, right? And so that's really like, I think if everybody kind of knew that, like when they're first getting into riding jet skis, with on the lake, you're a target for everybody. Knowing those fundamentals is definitely gonna, you're gonna survive a lot longer without having to do fiberglass work or get hurt. So
And you bring up a really good point, and it's funny, Tommy, because you can relate to this. We always preach to people situational awareness. You have to be aware of what's going on around you when you're on a watercraft all the time.
Head's got to be on a swivel.
Exactly. And I
oh
think
yeah.
you'll really relate to this because, Jody and I who've been riding as long as you have, it sometimes becomes frustrating for us when we're with newer riders that don't have that peripheral vision. And I honestly think after you've been riding for 20 or 30 years, you develop a very unique skill set where you're able to see what's to the extreme left of you. It's like a learned behavior that you develop over years, that it's almost second nature. You don't have to think about it. It's just, it's something that you do automatically. You know where all the boat traffic is. You see that vessel coming that, most beginners wouldn't see because they have those horse blinders on. Does that make sense, Tommy?
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, you described it perfectly. Like, and Jordy was saying, like, your head's on a swivel. You're not so much on a swivel, but like this the whole time when you're riding. Because you kind of just know, okay, I'm looking there. You check there, check, and then you kind of like find that spot. Like, okay, I'm in a good place right now for right now, but you kind of see something coming up, and it really like. And it's really instinctive
Right.
for me and you guys that like you kind of know this, and then when you get in it, when you first start, you're just like, oh wow, look at right, wow, that's cool, look, oh wow, you're like looking at your spray or something, or
Right.
and then that's, you're just like going, but you don't realize danger's coming, here comes danger coming the way, and we uh, ourselves, we would go, oh, look at that danger's coming here, I'm going to get out of the throttle and start going this way and get behind that guy,
Right.
and just it's like instinctive kind of moves that are set up like seconds before that. Like if you didn't set it up seconds before, now it's like milliseconds, oh whoa, make a quick hopefully a miss, but
Yeah.
hopefully you don't get in trouble.
Yeah, but I honestly think that the riders of the generation that we come from have developed some type of a real, almost like an early warning system, because I know that the experienced guys that I ride with always see a bad situation coming before the newer riders do. It just if there's a boat coming at a bad angle or at a high speed, or there's a fisherman, or there's a little kid who's being towed that fell off a tube, it seems like the experienced riders always identify that stuff long before. And
Oh
That's how
yeah.
it works.
and I guess
Totally.
you're right. It should be that way because of repetition, because of being in and around the water so much.
But you've obviously seen this situation before.
Right. So it's not.
It's just it starts being intuitive on your next step.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's no different
You
than
know what they gotta
working at a
do?
job.
the people that are like the new riders, okay, we should make them have to wear like a pink jersey or something, you know, like
Put a
high
put a
visibility.
yellow stripe on their rear bumper like
Yeah,
Like
NASCAR.
NASCAR.
yeah. So I mean, like, so you're okay, you know, you got to keep an extra close eye on that guy, you know,
Really
Right.
and
not a
then
bad idea. I'm just
you
saying.
know, so I mean,
Pretty genius.
It's not a bad
common
idea.
sense.
It's not a bad idea.
So hey Tommy, you got to tell us. So what's going on at Bomber? You know, after dropping the Reggie bombs, you know, how you gonna like, you know, how you gonna top that one?
Oh, we're doing it right now. The buzz bomb we came out, which we're really proud of. It's the frame. It's a one piece shield frame, and the optics are awesome because there's no bridge and no obstruction. So it's almost like wearing a goggle. I think I have a pair
I think
here.
I
I can
think
show you.
Jody bought it.
I actually just sent intern upstairs to go grab them.
Yeah, Jody's gonna show
Okay,
them.
cool. Yeah. And so that's a really I think it's really trendy as far as like, you know, the very popular styles now, and it's kind of cool because it works. It's unisex, girls like them too, you know, but you know, mostly men wear our glasses. I'd have to say, you know, I don't have a lot of women options, but you know, that one kind of works both ways, and it's like, I mean, the performance in terms of the optics are awesome. You put that thing on, and you could see everything, and it's a 4 base lens, so it's really flat. So you know, because most bomber glasses are dual purpose safety glasses as well. So then this one needs a side shield. So I got like removable side shield, which is almost like like a ski vest where you press in the little button and then you can pull them out. So that's how that works. And so it's really, that one's awesome. And we can't keep them in stock, can't make them fast enough. It's been almost a point where when we made the tooling, oh, I might have to move.
That's all right.
Space, but
Not a problem.
but when I made the tooling, the auto release part of, you know, when we're making the parts, it wasn't pushing the part out, you know, and so that's the only problem. So it takes a little longer to make them, and they're so popular. Oh wait, hold on, guys.
You're good.
Oh, you're good.
Listen, don't
It's
worry
all
about
fine.
it.
I'll
This
be
isn't this isn't CNN or
No.
MSNBC. You know, we're
This
not.
is like my eyes. You see like cooler stuff, like my helmets in the background there. It was like my office.
That's
So,
cool. That's
um,
really cool. But yeah,
but
you know, you know, it's funny, Tommy, because we noticed going to tag you for this show. You can get bombers almost anywhere on the planet.
Oh yeah.
It really seems
They're-
like,
They're all over Instagram.
yeah, but it seems like there's like a bomber Indonesia and a
Oh,
bomber
yeah.
South, and I'm like,
Tommy and I were talking last week, and they actually have a social media, your own social media person, right, Tommy? That just goes out
Yeah,
and does
well,
nothing but.
we did it.
blitz?
My wife pretty much runs it, but we have other people now just starting to do it, and it's one of our videographers and photographer guys we work with in Hawaii. We do a lot of stuff with people in Hawaii just because you know, the you know, the water, and you know, is around, and you know, I work with the Hawaiian Water Patrol people, so I sponsor a lot of their pilots and stuff with the people that, you know, are doing a lot of the like tow in and stuff, or mostly like jet ski assist in big waves. So like you could surf bigger waves now in Hawaii because of jet skis, because you can get in and get out of there with the
Right.
guys. And
Right.
and so, but anyways, so we have a lot of like people that over there. So one of our guys is helping there, doing a lot of videos and showing, you know, what the product does and stuff. And you know, it's in the beautiful setting of Hawaii and everything. And no, it's awesome. I mean, I mean, bomber. I always say like, you know, I've been doing it for like 20 years, you know, and we've, you know, the way business is, it's like, you know, you go out and try to get in all these stores and distributors and whatnot, and we had a lot of big box, and some people just say no, no, we're good with the Sun Clouds or the Oakley or whatever,
Right.
and they didn't take it in. And I had a lot. We did a lot of business, but we had a lot of no's. But then once the kind of like the online push, which really uh, uh, got like you threw gasoline on it as soon as the pandemic started. Uh,
Right.
we're able to pivot and kind of work that community a little bit more and be more relevant with the actual customers, because like a lot of times like customers, it was hard to communicate with them because it's so diluted between, like, we would sell to, say, Western Power Sports that would sell it to a Sea-Doo or a Yamaha shop anywhere,
Right.
and
Right.
then we would sell it to the customer. They have a problem with the product or whatever. They go, it wouldn't get back to us. Where
Right.
now with the online stuff, hey, they're fogging up, or the lens popped out, or this is happening. Good or bad, we have that, like, we're right there on it, and so it really helps us improve the products. And
Well,
so
and it's honestly, Tubby, with the pandemic, I think it changes shopping.
Cody, he's got the buzz bombs on it.
Yeah, he's got it. Yeah, there's such a cool design.
Aren't
And
they cool though?
that's the wing. That's the wing that Tommy was talking about
Yeah,
here. That's
that'll come
removable.
out. It's hard to get out, but I use like a little big pin, kind of like press it out, and if you want to take them out, but I like them in because it's extra protection.
Actually, my favorite little screwdriver.
Yeah,
Pop
works
those suckers
perfect.
right out.
Yeah, I'll tell you,
Yeah.
Tommy. It's to us, outsiders who aren't familiar with the eyewear industry. It seems like you produce such a quality product. It's the caliber of the high end. Your shades they're polarized. I mean, they're
Oh,
the,
he's
Well,
got
see, I was at
prescription
a.
lenses too.
but I'm just
Oh, he
saying.
does. That is an option,
Yeah.
just from a third party. I believe. But there was another, some kind of floater brand out there. When I go to Pennsylvania for the outdoorsman show
I
every
remember
year,
you telling us that. Yeah,
they put it in a fish tank, and I always walk around with my bombers on my head, of course. And I'm like, these look a lot better than those. I mean, they float, but
right.
I don't know who the hell they are. I just couldn't even imagine buying anybody else's stuff.
But that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's such a quality product. It's such a reasonable price. You know, I just think that not having Sunglass Hut and a lot of these retail stores, you know, uh, operating at full capacity is a huge advantage to Bomber because with a social media presence, people will look at your product and then see the price point and say, "Wow, why am I going to buy
$200 pair of Oakleys.
Oakleys or Ray Bans when I can get three sets of Bombers
Mm-hmm.
for the price of one Ray Ban?"
But like I said, like when you fall off and recover them after like 3 or 4 crashes, they're equal value.
Dude,
Pretty much.
exactly. I mean, seriously, that's one of the reasons that we fell in love with Bombers is because we've been those guys. We've been the
Yeah.
guys that literally
Lost Oakleys in the bottom of the lake, bottom of the river.
watched your Oakleys or Ray Bans or really, a $100 bill sink out of your reach, and I mean,
Yeah.
it's just it makes no sense if you're a watercraft enthusiast or recreational waterway user to own any other eyewear.
Well, I wear them when I'm kayaking
I know. Well, you wear them when you're
everywhere,
hunting. You wear them
everywhere,
all the time. I mean,
all the time.
And that's we just got our clear ones for when we're
when we're
out
shooting,
back and
yeah,
we're gonna
dude.
go shoot.
Uh,
These just showed up last week.
no,
But the Reggies,
Yeah.
the Reggies right now are my favorite.
I was going to tell him I'm totally stoked for those shooting glasses. Those things, because instead of wearing the typical eye protection like you would see at a factory or a
Mhm.
mill, to have those bomber specific safety glasses to shoot with, I'm stoked to go out and shoot at that gas tank again, like Tommy was talking about.
Well,
We-
we do practice a lot at close range, so there
Having
are
Oh, you got to have
ricochet.
eye protection. Yeah.
Unless we get the
Well,
long
yeah,
guns
that's
out.
That's the thing too. I'll fill you on a little fun fact in terms of eyewear. My dad, it was insurance agent, and number one claim that comes in that's costly for companies, and everything with was eye injuries, and they're the most costly because you go out there, you hurt your arm or your hand, they can kind of put you like on office duty or light duty. You could still
Right.
work, but when you have an eye injury, you can't do any of that. And then why it's happening, he can't even drive himself to the emergency to get fixed or anything, or have it checked out. And so it takes a guy to drive him, so it's really one of the most costly kind of workman's comp kind of
Claims.
It is
claims that comes in. So it just, you got to protect your eyeballs, man. And I've been a part of that for a long time because I come from construction. I was a apprentice carpenter and was framing stuff while I was basically racing, and so it's like that was the cool thing. My boss, who was like the superintendent or foreman for this huge framing company called Concord Framing, he uh, he was into racing. We rode motocross with him and stuff. And so when I had to race, he's like, "Oh, you can go." So it kind of was like a perfect little thing. But when I wasn't racing, man, I was framing houses, man, and and eye injuries, people getting hurt, doing that trade, like, all the time, and so, but
Right.
eye injuries, just fabricating jet skis and grinding, and I mean, it happens all the time. And if you just, a lot of times it's like, you're like lazy to go grab them or something and put
Right.
them on. I'll just go grind it. You gotta be careful because you gotta protect your eyeballs, because if you can't see, you're not going to be able to play or work or do anything anymore.
Well, and it's like you said, Tommy, it's a more of an intensive process in terms of repair or you get a piece of
I deal
metal
with it
stuck in your
every
hand.
day. I'm in a touch shop right now. I'm a union carpenter, and you literally shavings fly everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's so important to wear safety glasses or a shield,
Well,
or
it- how many times you see me with the wire wheel now restoring that ATV? You get one of those fly
Oh
out
yeah,
of that wheel, and it goes in your eye.
yep.
But
You're screwed.
it's such to Tommy's point, it's such an invasive process that, getting a sliver, a little piece of metal in your hand versus getting
nothing.
in your eye, it's more invasive to treat that. So no wonder it's a costly
Well,
insurance.
you got 10 fingers, 10 toes, you
Yeah,
got two
two eyes.
eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, well,
Most
hey
people.
Tommy, we hate to cut you short. We're kind of limited at a half hour because we're on Roku. So everybody on Roku that sees us is now going to be going and Googling Bomber, which is a good thing because, as Tommy said, they can't keep them in stock. So get your order in.
Well, the people
Yeah.
who don't know of Bomber Tommy, how do they find you?
BomberEyewear.com.
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Oh yeah, all that. Yeah.
yeah,
Jesus.
all of the social media channels. Bomber has, and kudos to the marketing people that you've hired as well as your wife. Let's give your wife credit.
Oh, absolutely.
let's get him credit. No, seriously, whoever is doing your visual marketing, the posts that are put up with the glasses on the
Mhm.
sand, really nice work,
Yep,
Tommy. They're doing a
definitely.
really
Yeah, thank. I'll let her know. I'll let her know. She's
I mean,
yeah, she
we would
definitely
we would send you photos, but they'd be in the snowbank.
Yeah, right now.
I know.
They-
I know, but I like your poster in the back though, the boats and everything. I feel warm just looking at the
We
backdrop of your guys' set there,
Oh,
So
we
well,
miss it.
I,
We
I,
miss
I
it
can't
so
wait
much.
to get on that bad boy again.
yeah, we call that right there wishful thinking. We're almost out of the woods, Tommy. Winter's almost over up here. We're gonna be literally breaking a hole in the ice soon to drop stuff in. But
Oh,
right there behind you on that part of the lake right now, there's a guy with the big old like wool hat.
yeah,
You got a
ice.
hole, and he's fishing for some pike or something right
He's
now.
ice
oh,
fishing.
they are.
You're exactly right. They
Yeah.
are ice fishing right now. But
And
hey,
they do pull some big ass pike out of that lake this time of
Yeah.
year.
oh yeah. Yeah. But hey, listen,
Yeah.
we really appreciate you taking the time tonight. As no BS, we give a shout out to Bomber every week because we love the product, and we can't just stress that enough. We don't want the new to the industry or community riders, making the mistakes that we all made in terms of navigation, but also in terms of losing glasses. So we're always giving a shout out to Bomber, and can't express to you how much we genuinely love the product and what you do for the sport and the
I
community.
was going to say, and you've been great to everybody, all the events.
Oh my God,
Eh,
wave days, all over. I mean, Bomber is just so supportive. I mean, helping out the Belly Buster last year.
Mhm.
One of the just premier events in the country, the Belly Buster. You guys are always so gracious and so supportive and give back so much. We can't thank you enough.
No, it's awesome. It's great to be a part of it, and of course, thank you for having me tonight. It was fun talking, this through a little bit, and hopefully, you know, people learn something from that a little bit because I was kind of, you think about some of these simple little things, and it's like, yeah, you need to talk about that. You got to have these conversations before, you just go out on the water and go for it,
And,
because it
and
could.
we forget, Tommy. Like I said, I get frustrated. We have kids, a lot of younger riders, and we get frustrated when they don't see what we see. And you forget, man. You just forget that you've been doing it so long. It's like second nature.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Tell your
All right.
wife great. Tell your wife great job with the social media stuff, and we'll look forward to connecting with you soon.
All right. I will do. Good.
Appreciate
Thanks
it,
for
buddy.
having me.
Thanks
All right.
again,
Bye.
Tommy.
See you, Tom.
So
See ya.
once again, Bomber Floating Eyewear. Find them anywhere on social media.
Those
Don't
are the new Buzz Bombs. Check out the Reggies. Like I said, Reggie Bombs, my personal favorite.
You can get them all over the world. Great, great product. Extremely reasonably priced. A lot of love going out to our friends at Liquid Molly. We got some Liquid Molly stuff coming up. We got some stuff we're working out on the Brap Cave. Going to see a little Liquid Molly love going into some of these
Well,
machines.
hopefully that liquid Molly oil help those hurricanes come alive.
The what
There's
cane.
nothing that's going to help a hurricane come alive.
What?
Hey, listen, also a lot of love going out to Watercraft Superstore. A new product coming in every day. New wetsuits from Jet Pilot. All new stuff coming in. Black tip products.
Covers.
Just everything. They're over 10,000 OEM parts in stock, plus the aftermarket stuff. Anything you need, personal watercraft related, Watercraft Superstore, your one-stop shop. And I have to give some love to our friends at WSM Performance Products. Needed a carrier bearing for our brothers down south. Got a hold of them today, shipped today, and guess what else they had?
I'm sure you're going to tell us.
Clutch cable for the DS80.
Oh, really?
Unbelievable WSM Performance Products. We got a little Watercraft Network pit bike for when we go to the events. We got the wheelers, we got the skis. We needed a pit bike. Jody and I want to lose all the skin on our knees and elbows. So so shout out to WSM Performance Products. We're back next Wednesday. Don't forget Bishop Digital Designs. You need a poster done for your watercraft event or any event, and you don't want it to look like everybody else's. Bishop Digital Designs. Get a hold of them right here. Shoot Watercraft Network